Everybody is welcome. The only thing that is not welcome is hate. So let's be decent and civil to each other. Let me fix the chat here. I hope that we can have a conversation and a dialogue. There are so few people commenting on videos today. It makes me wonder if there are less people or everybody's scared to talk, to state their opinions or beliefs or any of it, or be seen by AI or what have you. Please understand it's been here a lot longer, and the name itself is a misnomer, artificial intelligence. How can intelligence be artificial? So there is a lot of deception there too. Today we're going to go over some current events and headlines because we haven't done a video like that in a while. I know I do have all these sidetrack missions, but those are things that I do feel led to talk about. However, before I start this video, I want to say that I do agree with other YouTubers like RFB. He's been around a long time. I've watched him since day one. I disagree with him about a lot of things, maybe because he's ex-military, maybe because we're just from two different realms, but he's kind of my, I don't know, I look up to him on YouTube, and I kind of expect, I guess, a lot from certain people here that have platforms. So I understand when they put out a shout out to say, hey, use your platform for something good. That is what I'm trying to do. I do feel led by the Holy Spirit with everything that I speak about. I do think we're building on previous videos and information. And so today we're going to take a look at headlines that I've gathered from the next couple of weeks, for the next couple of weeks, just to kind of go over some things. Now, also, it's important to know thy enemy, and that's why I look at certain things like pagan calendars. It is not to get you interested in such things. It's so that you know what days to be maybe more cautious, maybe to pray a little more, protection over yourself, your food, your garden, what have you, your family, you know. And I think things like that are okay. I have issues myself personally with some things that the Bible says because I feel like I was born with certain gifts. And so there are certain things that I'm still struggling with myself. But when I bring things to you like Sky News and Sky Events, it's not to indoctrinate you into paganistic ways, but more to say, I believe we should know the seasons and when to plant, when to harvest, all these things. And we should know what to look out for, what certain people are doing on certain days, and when maybe we should be more careful. I don't need these anymore, so I'm going to go ahead since I'm done playing on here. Hi, welcome. I've seen you a couple of times here now. Thank you for being here. So we're going to go over some headlines from the last few weeks for the next few weeks and kind of break them down. I do things a little differently than other channels, but I hope that that brings something different to the videos. And again, like RFB was saying, I do believe that we have to watch out for at this time an FF, a false, whoa. Breaking news. That was not supposed to come up. I apologize. Let me see. Is that what that is? It is what that is. Stop. A couple of these headlines I'm just going to read to you because there's a lot here. And a couple of them, we're gonna go a little deeper into them. So I do believe there's an FF coming, a false flag, and I think we have to watch out for that and things that are happening. Somebody took their like away. How sad is that? You from Berean? I'm not from Berean. I consider myself a Berean. I'm a researcher. I seek the truth out as well, but I make a lot of mistakes, so please don't. I am not to be an idol or anything like that. I'm not on YouTube to be a celebrity or a star or a influencer. I'm here to connect with other people, maybe of like minds. I'm from Turkey. That's dope. Welcome. Thanks for being here. I just showed my age. That's dope, right? Okay. So I do believe, like a lot of other YouTubers, that we have to watch out for things that are happening right now, like false flags. But I am discouraged because RFB himself said this isn't a wag the dog kind of incident, but then he said watch out for false flags. Well, if this is wag the dog, then false flags is exactly what you have to watch out for, being scripted reality, right? Events that aren't actually popping off, that, they're taking photos of people, setups, kind of, just fake, totally fake news. And other FFs, people actually do perish in them because the people that control this realm or our countries, our leaders have become corrupt. Maybe they weren't always, but they have become corrupt. And Ephesians tells us everything we need to know about that. So let's take a look at some headlines. So maybe we can know what direction to look in, what to expect from certain directions. Unlawfully teleporting streamer of all time. Good morning. Hey, what's up? Unlawfully teleporting. You're going to have to explain to me exactly what you mean by that, because I'm not sure. Okay, so moving on. NASA, is it NASA? Yes, NASA confirms that meteors caused loud booms across Northeast Ohio. Now that's where I'm at. I can tell you things have been strange here for a while now. Since day one that I came here, people have always idolized, looked up to, and talked about Bigfoot. So this area has always been a little woo. Especially when I look back and all this started, and right before it started, and I remember it because it was so bizarre. My spouse and I were at the lake before he changed, before everything changed. Things were just starting to get weird. And we heard something it was a cross between like a cat, like a mountain lion type sound, and a person, like something I'd never ever heard before. And I wanted to go like, whatever is that? I didn't know. I'm that person who runs toward the fire, so I didn't know if I should go running and find out like if everyone was okay, or if I should just like. So I just kind of waited like to see if we heard it again, and we didn't. But it was very bizarre, and it led up to a lot of my strange experiences. These things, do exist, and they can follow you home. These lower level energies and entities, whatever you prefer to call them. So Northeast Ohio has always been a little strange. Now NASA, we don't trust to begin with, right? They confirmed that it was meteors that caused loud booms across Ohio, Northeast Ohio. A lot of states have been confirming loud booms, and I would say that's due to one, strip mining. They're after our minerals and our gemstones. And there are occult reasons for that. That is not just for, whatever people, want to say. Pretty self-explanatory. You have teleported unlawfully into and out of New Mexico. Unlawfully. Is there laws against teleporting? You mean I bilocated? That's dope. Really? Am I in trouble? I would like to go to New Mexico. That's bizarre that you chose New Mexico to say that about. Okay, so the next headline we're going to look at briefly. Either way, I don't judge based on temporal crimes. Okay, so this is from The Hill. And this gets a call. And, if you follow this channel, again, we're building. So I will mention another group of individuals once again. This is from The Hill. This is from Little Girl. They all had peanut butter, so they're all kind of like wondering if everybody's is gone and trying to get each other's. Judge permanently blocks the 10 Commandments displays at several Arkansas school districts. This is from 3/17/26, just yesterday, by Lexi Lanos Cochran. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but I am going to say the highlights. A judge ruled Monday to permanently bar several school districts from following Arkansas's law to display the 10 Commandments in public school classrooms. U.S. District Judge Timothy Brooks ruled the law violates the Establishment Clause and the free exercise right of the plaintiffs. Who are the plaintiffs? Act 573 purpose is to only display a sacred religious text in a prominent place in every public school classroom. And the only reason to display a sacred religious text in every classroom is to proselytize to children. The state has said the quiet part out loud, the judge wrote. The ruling affects several Arkansas school districts, but is not a statewide ban. Today's decision ensures our clients' classrooms will remain spaces where all students, regardless of their faith, feel welcome. That is from a quote from Heather Weaver, Senior Counsel for the American Civil Liberties Union's program on freedom of religion and belief. Wow, that's a mouthful. So hang on one second, because I want to tell you why this is important. I'm looking for what area this is from and who the plaintiffs are. Is it those specific schools? Upheld Louisiana's. Okay, the ruling comes after the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals upheld Louisiana's state law requiring the 10 Commandments be posted. Arkansas is under the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, not the 5th. Interesting. So the U.S. Supreme Court is split on this decision. Why is this? I don't know about y'all, but I just subbed so hard. That's funny. And everybody like left because we're talking. I want to tell you why this is strangeness, though. Why this is bizarre. Okay, so Arkansas. Some fake TIs, alleged TIs, had started like messaging me and like, you know, just love bombing me or attention bombing me. And they were from Arkansas. And this one was a male and he was from Arkansas. And I said, you know, you're a little strange. Please don't email me anymore. I don't want to have any more contact with you. And oddly enough, I had to get another friend to tell him to leave me alone. And he has. But it was very bizarre. The interactions were very strange. He acted like he had some claim on me. People get weird on the internet sometimes, but this is something else. Why Arkansas? Well, first of all, again, to point back to gemstones, which are very important in the occult and in the regular Bible to prophets. Gemstones are in almost every prophetic story about prophets if you look into them and read them, right? Yeah, I'm always safe. Always. This is water with ormus in it. It's said to repair certain things. I like to tell you about my own life, what I'm drinking, eating. This is not medical advice. Creatine. This is creatine. Water that has been boiled. I always boil water if I have to resort to drinking tap water. I don't really like bottled water either, but I do like spring water. And I do make alkaline water. You can do that with regular baking soda. Something you want to do if you eat a lot of citrus, look up something called the alkaline diet. There was a guy that they really buried his information because it's said to get rid of something. And ormus is also said to repair things that we can damage in our tree of life. I'm not a doctor. That's not medical advice. That is posted everywhere on my channel and in the videos. Oddly enough, I'm drinking out of a glass that says Harmony. And the ormus that I got this time is called Harmony. So that's kind of neat. Arkansas. So I had stalkers from Arkansas. There are gemstones and tunnels and cave systems all over underneath Arkansas. That's also why it's important in this time especially and to the occult. Why else is Arkansas important where they banned these 10 commandments? Because Arkansas is where our friends are from. Damien Eccles and what were they called? I don't even remember. Did they call them? I want to say the Memphis 3, but I know that's not what they were called. I hate to give them more attention than victims. And also I feel like some of these stories, again, are stories to get out certain information to people. And some of them are real stories. And these people are showcasing their initiations. They're saying, hey, I met my quota. I sacrificed a certain amount of whatever. And then they are put on the television to announce this. This is why you always see politicians do the same signs. They always do like the field goal thing or the pointing. Like they always photograph them doing the same thing. When they're younger, I'd bet they would all do certain hand signs. My son and my spouse. Their pictures that they do allow people to take of them are full of them. Don't forget the huge deposits of natural ginseng. Oh my gosh, yes. And I actually saw like in the Appalachians, I saw an episode of some obscure show where this man was harvesting ginseng and like they were fighting over it and they had feuded over it with they were shooting at each other and everything over ginseng. So Arkansas is full of the occult. It is where Damien Eccles and those young people, the ones that Johnny Depp advocated for, those ones, something happened there, okay? And there's a reason that he spoke up for them. Johnny Depp is really beloved, really idolized, but he's very high up the ladder, the echelon in the Luciferian cult. Pick one, any of them. He is very high up there. And I think at this time, considering his other body is aging, he's probably either went to another vessel already, or they're doing something, you know, to rejuvenate that one, because he's looked different in pictures too. But we can't trust pictures anymore. You know, pictures or it didn't happen. You can't really say that anymore. So the 10 Commandments being blocked in Arkansas is rather big, and it points to the fact that there's a lot of occult things that have happened there over the years, and a lot of doorways that were opened. There's a reason satanic panic and all these serial killers kind of happened at the same time, and that they were allowed to kind of thrive at the same time. If you can't tell now at this point that that opened doorways, that all of those practices open the doorways that we are dealing with today, then again, you're not paying attention to the long game. And these folks are playing the long game. It is not, I go over current events and I try to work them into what is happening as a whole. So, especially Scientology. Right. It's funny now too that the guy building the underground layers for these guys who think they're Batman, for Zuckerberg and everything, his name is Ron L. Hubbard or something like that. It's almost the same thing, or is the same thing. So that's bizarre. Also, they went through this trope years ago. They're repeating things every so many years. It's getting closer together now for some reason, but a lot of this, I'm going to show you, happened in 2020. I went over this in the Tom Hanks video regarding Tom Hanks and Netanyahu, Tom Hanks and the coffee, and Tom Hanks and the Corona typewriter. Tom Hanks is signaling he's kicking events off. When Tom Hanks did the typewriter, that kicked off the Rona lockdowns. Now he's doing this coffee push. That is kicking off whatever is coming now. And so I'm trying to work these things into a broader picture. So the 10 Commandments being banned in Arkansas is kind of big, because that is just showing you out loud that the occult is big there, and that the people like Damian Eccles being released in the last several years, not just him, but in the last few years especially, all these people being released that committed, that were accused of committing heinous crimes. It's bizarre. So the booms near Northeast Ohio as well, that is something different than what they're saying, quite obviously. But what is it? Is it strip mining? Is it people building layers? Look, they said that the elite were building their underground bunkers in New Zealand back in 2015. So to say now that they're building them in Hawaii, and tell me how that works. Are you going to build an underground layer on an island? Isn't it too damp for that? How would that even work? You wouldn't be able to go down very far, would you? Because it's an island. It doesn't have a root system, does it? Like, does it? I don't know. Where would you build an underground lair, a bunker in Hawaii? And I'm just asking questions because I don't know. But that to me sounds suspicious. Okay, so those things are definitely pointing to other things. We can't really trust those news sources there. So let's check out what this, oh God, this one I don't really want to go over, but I'm going to. So here's a headline, and this is to show you certain things are being and will continue to be normalized more vocally. So this is from Global English Editing. Don't know whatever. This says, psychology says the reason reverse age gap relationships are rising isn't about older people chasing youth. It's because younger people are increasingly attracted to emotional availability over earning potential. And that shift is rewriting, hold please, is rewriting the entire power structure. Over earning potential, and that shift is rewriting the entire power structure of modern dating. March 17th by Isabella Chase. Why is this bad? Do I have to tell people why this is bad news? First of all, the word salad here is no good. First of all, they're pointing to psychology, which is allegedly a proven science. I have proven again and again on my channel that most psychologists, that it was born of the occult, first of all. It was born straight from witchcraft. Some of the things they do are questionable at best. The next thing says the reason reverse age gap. Why are they calling it that? Why are they saying reverse age gap? What does that mean? I need to sit on my legs so you guys can kind of see me, but I'm not hurting myself. Reverse age gap. What does that mean? Reverse age gap, guys. That means MAPS. That is normalizing it to minor attracted people. People attracted to minors. Hold 1 second so I can read this comment. It does have weak connection to the Earth's crust. Zuckerberg is a notorious water miner, like Bill Gates. Billionaires, am I right? Oh, interesting. Water and land and energy are supposed to be free. We need to stop listening to these people, because I don't even think these people exist. I really don't. Most of them anyways. And I'm not being mean. Like, I pray for people in other countries and all that, but these people that they show on the screen, they are proxies for other people. As a Protestant priest, I'll ask you, why are you concerned with these things? It's not obvious. I'm going over headlines, right? And I'm showing you that they're normalizing this vocabulary for minor attracted people. That they are going to protect the people from the Epstein files, that we will never see any of them arrested, that won't happen. It's not going to happen. They're also using it, again, to stir the pot because they want a civil war. They want to be able to, again, they are legalists. People who are demonic and people who have demonic attachments have to do what the demons do. And demons are legalists. As a Protestant priest, you should understand exactly why I'm concerned with people who are attracted to minors. That is a problem. Children should be allowed to grow and be children, to learn things, to learn skills that they are interested in. They should not be forced to be adults. Protestant is the best kind of priest, hands down. That doesn't even make sense. There is no such thing as a Protestant priest. Priests are Catholic. But you are not there and are not directly involved. Directly involved in what? What does that mean? No, I'm not a child harmer. But I've been bothered myself throughout my life. I don't know what else to call it. By these types of people. By false accusations on one side, by hearing about it, about certain people that I knew in my neighborhood, and also by older men always trying to force themselves on me. I do know something about this, and because I think one of my sons may have been bothered by an adult. Excuse you, I am a priest that is Protestant. There's no such thing. There is no such thing. You cannot go through seminary and still say you're a Protestant. Priests are Catholic. I thought you meant minor attraction, not minor attraction. Yeah, in this headline, it's about younger people, and they're normalizing the vocabulary too by seeing reverse age gap relationships, and they're saying it's the choice of the younger person. And also, again, understand as far as high strangeness and Babylonian religions go, I have seen and I know for a fact, like we've talked about, that certain spirits have exchanged vessels. They are now in younger vessels. So it's not actually children we're even seeing or dealing with. Okay, and that is horrible. It is horrible. It is a horrible discussion to have that our society is full of people like this. I am correct. I know that, and I'm not being arrogant. Like, there are not. I'm always wrong about things, and I have so much to learn still, and I'm grateful to learn from people who are more experienced than me and more learned than me. But I know for a fact there's no such vocabulary as Protestant priest. That's a straight up lie, and you're deceiving people by using that title. It's just a lie. You can't go through seminary and call yourself Protestant still. Wow, you just told me, gosh. It's not about telling you. It's the truth. There is no such thing as a Protestant priest. And if you are calling yourself that, you are a deceiver. You couldn't be arrogant with that amount of shine. Who are you? Protestant is what? Protestant means that back in the day, Martin Luther, I think before him, though, it was somebody else. I always forget that guy's name, who was actually the king's man, and there was a war, there was a holy war. The Protestants protested. They were Catholic too. Everybody was Catholic. Catholic means universal church. So when the church was actually born into like a man-made institution, when everything started becoming corrupt because we had to put it in buildings and all this, that, and the other. But they have good historical documentation. Like Catholics are nuts about that. So Protestants protested that Catholics they were saying that they were idolaters and that they were too luxurious, and I'm not going to disagree with that point at all. However, I don't think you should have thrown the bathwater out with the baby, because Martin Luther tore himself apart and created another branch of belief system simply because he wanted to get married, and he wanted to get married to a nun, and he ran off with a nun. So not only did he break his own vows, he encouraged a female to break hers as well. And however many people that affected, in the world. Yeah, that's Lutheran Protestantism. But again, the Holy War, when the protest, like, you guys maybe need a new name or stop protesting. They protested the Catholic Church and the Pope. They didn't think that there should be like a head of the church. And again, I'm not going to like disrespect that, because I understand some of that. I'm not going to disagree with all of that. But again, I don't believe you should have thrown the bathwater out with the baby, because they tore the Bible apart. The Protestants removed books from the Bible, and that's a curse. Paul tells us not to remove or add. So now who you're talking with? Talking to you, Scott. All right, so here we go. When I said, who are you, I was talking about Flex, because he's very nice to me. And it's been a very long time since somebody was kind to me. And KJV. I don't prefer the KJV anymore, but I do read it. They removed books from the Bible. You guys can't have a full idea of prophecy right now, and you're being deceived by TV Zionists, by actors, basically. By the worst example of our religions ever. All they show on the screen are bad examples. They never show that, like, actual people who are trying, people who are putting forth effort, people who are feeding the hungry. Those people get persecuted now and derided and abused. So you need the whole book. You're Miss Baruch, you need those prophecies for the end days. Baruch tells you about a cannibalistic curse in these times. And that's part of what we're seeing today being normalized. So you've told a priest that has you're not a priest. You're not a priest. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the king of some random country. You're wrong. I don't care what they think they changed in this time, because everything is inverted upside down and inside out. And I'm not saying this just because I have a computer in front of me. Flex says, God uses me in mysterious ways. He usually puts people who need to be loved in a funny way before me. Interesting. I don't care about Congress, dude. I won a congressional award when I was 15. So what? Who are those people? I don't care. I follow God's law, especially now, first. And Christ told us that God's law is basically love over all things. Do all things with love. Do unto others. So I love you, but you're lying. You're deceiving yourself and others if you're serious about this. I'm going to keep going. So the next thing, so basically I'm not going to read this whole article, because I'm not going to promote people who are normalizing PDF files. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say, I already dissected the headlines, and I think it's disgusting that they're trying to normalize that. So here's another headline. China on Monday voiced firm opposition to the United States decision to launch a Section 301 investigation. 301 is interesting because back in 2019, 2020, we were looking at Event 201 regarding what was happening with our lockdowns. So I think that number is interesting. It says China saying that it seriously disrupts the international economic and trade order. The investigation announced by the U.S. on March 12th local time in relation to what it claimed to be failures to prohibit the importation of goods produced via quote-unquote forced labor. Ministry of Commerce noted in a statement, the statement said, China has already lodged representations with the U.S. side. So Again, watch for more shortages. They're going to blame inflation, but the deal here is going to become scarcity very soon. And when certain people of the public realize that, we should all be very careful. Conservation news. Oh, I'm not going to read that one right now. Scott, the truth is out there. Let's find it. Sounds like China. Am I right? Am I right? Yes, it is China. Bad, bad, bad. That's rough news for us again, because I want to say that I feel like China is behind some of what we're going through, but again, we have all these fingers pointing everywhere that this sounds a whole lot to me like Satan deceiving all of the nations through AI. Through AI sending out fake videos, fake messages, or somebody, a person, an individual behind AI acting as, I don't know, acting as like this media, just pushing out all of this stuff. I don't know why that's funny. Again, if you're a priest, you have a very poor attitude. And again, people are just out there to act like, all right, I'm about to ban you. I won't do that unless you get really nasty. So here's another headline. This is from X. I have a few headlines from X. I don't have an X account. I have an old Twitter account, which was pretty cool because I was like, oh, these celebrities replied to me. And now I'm like, I don't even care. Paleoanthropology. So here is another headline you're seeing just to normalize something. DNA, and this goes with the previous headline we read about normalizing minors, children, being with older men especially. DNA of Thorin, one of the last Neanderthals finally sequenced. It says it reveals inbreeding and 50,000 years of genetic isolation. First thing is, if they are actually working with the fallen, if they are actually working with interdimensionals, they already know some things, so they don't have to actually study anything. They're getting their information from these things and from occult practices like John Dee did. John Dee performed his rituals to give information to the queen so she knew how to rule. A lot of leaders went to things like mystics and mediums. The Bible tells us and warns us against sorcery and divination. However, oracles and prophets are entirely godly. The difference is, number one, they're not trying to deceive people. Number two, they're not asking for money. That's a main difference. And number three, they're not getting their informations from demons. They're getting it direct from that connection they have with God, because their tree of life, that extra connection on the Kabbalah tree of life, you'll notice it doesn't have the last connection. People that are still connected to God have that. The fallen ones don't have that. They have their own system, which is this type of reincarnation thing. Now, does everyone have to do that? Like repeating a grade if we do something really bad? I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't seem to me it's a godly thing, because they need our consent to perform the act. And because what happens to the soul that's already in that body? And you have to understand, the body is part of the soul. That's why spirit and soul are two different words. The spirit is what is inside that animates the body. Soul used to encapsulate the whole big picture, the body, spirit, and mind. That was the soul in the beginning. Again, they've changed all of these things. This guy says, you're funny. I bet people in China don't even rotate their tires. Go ahead, shiny truth seeker. You told a priest today that he is a liar and a lying. Good luck to you. A priest wouldn't be like you. A priest wouldn't behave like you. A priest wouldn't have that picture that you have there. And a priest is not a Protestant. That's a misnomer. Protestants protested the Catholic Church. They are not Catholics. Now, you can be a Protestant pastor, so maybe you have your vocabulary wrong as a deceiver. Somehow I know you'll forgive her, Scott. That's a pun on being a priest. Exactly. If you're an actual priest, where's your patience and your love and your forgiveness? I know how priests talk. Actual priests. I grew up Catholic. You're not a priest. All right, let's go to what's next. So that anthropology headline, again, is to normalize what they said, to quote them, inbreeding. So you have the normalization of young people being with much older people. Now they're calling it a reverse age gap. So they're making new vocabulary and they're normalizing that practice and behavior. You've seen this all throughout history, how they normalize things by changing the vocabulary. People aren't going to go for words like sin or transgression or wrong, so they change things like that. Gosh, read what Protestant values and beliefs are. Google it now, Nancy Drew. I've done Bible study with some Protestants, and actually, I think it was I might have it. It was a Protestant that baptized me as an adult when I was consenting. You don't know what you're talking about, because pastors are kind, priests are kind. They don't come and point fingers to some random person like that. They don't say they're a Protestant priest. There is no such thing, and you're deceiving people. Later, alligator. Okay, so the Planetary Society, again, we are looking at things like this because what happens up there does affect down here. As above, so below is a true statement, and it's in the Our Father, the Lord's Prayer. It is just spoken differently. Some things of the occult, meaning hidden, are true. God conceals things. The Bible tells us that God hides things, and it is a king or a queen, somebody who has, the gumption to go and search it out. It is our jobs to seek it out. So again, be very careful of how we treat each other, and pointing the finger and saying, oh, you're a witch, you're a sorcerer, you're a diviner. I've been called those things so many times, and it is painful. And I go and talk to God. Do I need to repent? What do I need to do? And people don't understand. Your diet, what you consume, has more to do with your salvation than you've been told. And I can't go any further with it, because once you know, and then you're judged by it. So if I tell you before you're ready, you know what I mean? And I've told you guys these things, but you're not supposed to keep throwing those pearls, right? If it's not time for somebody, it's not their time to understand something yet. So we each come to understandings in our own time, and then by that, we are assessed or judged. And again, judgment is also used in Babylonian texts and the occult, quote unquote, religions. So please don't look at it as a bad word. Oh, I apologize. Having some back problems. It's winter again here in Ohio. We're stuck inside. Let me have a sip of my creatine Ormus water. Hi, it's nice to see you again. Sheridan. So we're going to take a look at the Planetary Society. I do not personally believe in planets, but if you do, that's okay. Maybe I'm wrong. I've not been up in the sky. However, the Bible tells us that there is a firmament covering it, and that the stars, that they wander in their specific patterns. Sherry is fine. Okay. So I look at things like this because what happens up there does affect us down here for things like planting and harvesting. And that's what matters to me, because somebody who's learning how to grow things, when do I need to plant? When does spring actually start? What do I need to plant at this time where I live, right? That's important to me, and I think we should all be learning things like that and honing our skills. This system was never meant to last. It was never meant to thrive. If it was, they would take children when they're young and put them where they're more adept, right? If one child likes to grow things and is good at that, then you put them in a track that's going to take them down an agricultural and horticultural path. If you get another child who's good at building things, you take them down a carpentry skill set type of path. And you have teachers who are instructors and apprentice programs instead of indoctrination campuses that are called campuses, but they're actually camps, like concentration camps. Okay, that's all campuses are. Again, the words, they've changed all the words to things, and they've mislabeled pictures so that we think this is one thing and really it's something else. And that's not hard to do, especially if you do it again and again over and over to somebody their whole life. So let's look at what's going on in 2026. This is from the Planetary Society. I'm not going to look at everything, just March and April, obviously. March 3rd, we already went over about the lunar eclipse. March 8th was a Venus and Saturn conjunction. Why is this important to us if I don't believe in planets? Because the planets that they made are each like their own little G god, right? Especially in Kabbalah and hidden, more secret religious societies or smaller sects, the radical parts of certain religions that break off, and do rituals and whatnot. These are dates that perhaps if you are a Christ follower, you would choose to pray more. You would choose to be more cautious. Pay attention to what people are saying to you. Don't let new people into your home, right? Don't give them that invitation. Don't give that consent. So this is why we look at these things. And again, it's important to know when to plant, when to harvest, what to plant. Maybe you care about that. I know I do. So March 20th was some type of March 20th is March equinox. Now that's important. We're going to look at that again. So just hang on. And in April 4th is Mercury at its greatest elongation. I don't even know what that means. Mercury will appear farther from the sun in the sky than any other time in the year. April 8th, Smile, earliest possible launch date. That is the solar wind magnetosphere. Ugh. That rubs me funny. Magnetosphere, ionosphere link explorer. Smile, a joint mission between ESA and the Chinese Academy of Sciences, will launch to study the sun and how it interacts with the earth. It always amazes me that our scientists can get along, that we can have things like the Antarctic Treaty, but then we have war. Again, the art of warfare is something altogether different than what they show us. A lot of it is done with information and words, because the truth is heavy. It is, and it doesn't make you popular, obviously. April 22nd is the Lyrid meteor shower peak date. That's important because why? 22. 322 is skull and bones. It's very possible that that's why 22 is important to them as well. 2 is B, 2 is B, BBB, the big beautiful bill. I mean, it never ends. These people are numbers and symbols. So we're going to look, this is just what the Planetary Society is telling us. So now we're going to look a little deeper at these events somewhere else. So hold please. I apologize if this is a little bit of a longer video, but going through current events and whatnot can be a little longer. But I enjoy breaking these things down. And when the video is posted, people can skip to what is most interesting to them, because some of these things, again, you'll want to watch for. Now, this is from BBC Weather. I actually like getting news from like BBC or India Times. I like to get an outside look. Again, if this is really outside our country, I don't know, because our information is very tightly reined in. So this says 7 celestial events to watch for in the spring night sky. We are here for it, for real, for real. Thank you for being here. That's really kind of you. This is by Sophia Herod. That's heavy, because I'm going to touch on Sophia, and Christians aren't going to like this, and I probably would have heard it if I didn't put that guy in timeout. It was only 10 minutes, but still. Sophia is the name, allegedly, that they use in Gnostic eschatology and theology. Sophia is allegedly the one who created all of this. And her son, Yareaboth, I don't ever pronounce his name right, he's a little mental, he's a little crazy and insane and egotistical and lonely, and that makes him fearful. And people and individuals in fear do crazy things. So according to the story, he is the demiurge. He is the little g god from the Old Testament, which I partially believe has some truth to it, because they mock the name Sophia in this realm. And everything that is mocked here to a certain degree is often true, is often pure-hearted, that there's some reason for it, like spiritually, that is good about them. So I take faith that, my persecutions, though small to others, they're big to me, to my heart, right? And God knows how to teach me. He's allowing certain things to happen to me because he knows that it's my heart that's going to change through certain things. And this is why we have certain lessons for certain people. Okay, anyway, Sophia Herod tells us, spring is a great time for stargazing, yada, yada. So the Lyriad meteor shower, it will light up the sky between the 16th and 25th of April. And the peak is on April 22nd. That's big, again, because 2-2. We want to watch for that date. Now, it is the oldest recorded meteor shower that is still visible today, according to the Royal Museums in Greenwich. The ETA Aquariids meteor shower overlaps for a short while with the Lyriads. They are active, get this, between April 19th and May 28th, and they peak on the 6th of May. Why is that important? Because April 20th is equinox. It is the spring equinox, I believe. We'll get to that in a minute. Yes, here it comes. It says with up to 40 meteors per hour, streaks of light, which are debris from Halley's Comet. Halley's or Haley's? I don't know what they're trying to say there. The best view of the ETA Aquariids is usually from the southern hemisphere, but they will be visible in the northern hemisphere as they appear low in the eastern sky just before dawn. Right, so that's what I'm thinking about, 4 or 5 o'clock for me. Spring equinox. Oh, I'm sorry, isn't April 20th? That's something else that's coming up. The spring equinox marks the start of astronomical spring. This year it will take place on March 20th. That's in a couple days. You want to be more cautious that day, maybe pray a little more, maybe fast, maybe tell the creator maker, thank you for spring, thank you for the seasons, thank you for the earth. Don't worship the earth itself, but it is okay to take care of it because it is supposed to be our home. And a lot of people are confused and they're being led astray by the spirits that fell, because the spirits that fell want to go home and they know this isn't their home. Human beings, at least for our life on this side of the veil, we're meant to be on earth. This is our home. Do you ever wish a meteor shower would just get there and reform a protoplanet? No, actually, I don't. I think they're pretty. But I rarely see them. I don't like skywatch, right? Like I do, but I don't. When I'm outside, I do absolutely check out the sky and all that. But it's not something, I don't want to fall into that type of idolatry. I don't want to fall into divination, like, because that scares me, because I was born with a gift of knowing things before they happen and dreaming of things before they happen, and I've been called a witch before, and it's harmful. It hurts me as a Christ lover and a God lover. That kind of speak can be harmful to somebody else's walk. So we should be mindful of the things we say and how we treat each other, even online, especially online sometimes, right? We don't understand the effect that we have on each other. And if we understood that we are each other, that we all are connected by the same piece of God, by this whole bits of this Holy Spirit, sparks of the divine, when we hurt each other, when I hurt my family, it was a boomerang effect and hurt me more, right? And hurt people. So we have to understand this, and we have to stop these cycles of causing pain and suffering, because the Buddhists are right about that a lot of the pain and suffering we are causing to each other. And it's coming from this wicked outside source, but Buddhists don't talk about that. The things you see, witness, and know is God's word of knowledge. You're not a witch. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Sometimes it's hard reading things like what Paul said. And I know that people have taken things that I've said and run with it. I know they're monetizing some of the things I tell you here, and they're not supposed to be monetized messages. I've said that over and over again. I don't care if I want people to spread the truth that we find here, and I want people to correct me when I'm wrong. But let's do these things in love and with some intelligence and the intellect that God gave us, right? Thank you. That's very nice that you said that. It's hard. It's very hard. Spring triangle. As we move further into spring, I don't know how to make my screen not time out that fast. I've went to my settings. I thought I fixed it, and it's still doing it. As we move further into spring in the northern hemisphere, the spring triangle, okay, I've never heard of that, will also make a dazzling appearance in the night sky. This is interesting. It consists of 3 bright stars from 3 different constellations. There's your 33, folks. Never ends. Arcturus is coming back. I did a video on that. If you look, the thumbnail is a bear. Go to like most viewed videos or reverse the order because it's an order video from and I'm going to tell you 2020 is repeating. I don't know how or why, or if it's just appearing that way in the algorithm of things. But Arcturus was a constellation, a bear constellation. The bear is also Russia's symbol. Arcturus was around in 2019, 2020. So, again, there, what I said earlier, there's another reference of like this Groundhog Day year repeating itself, which is rough because Hank's come out with the coffee, and when he come out with the typewriter, things happened. I knew you had the gift. It comes from God. You're not a witch. You're on the right path. God wants you to use it to help people in their walk here on earth. I'm trying, but nobody listens to me, and nobody comes to the channel. So it's hard. But I mean, I'm not invested in numbers, right? Because that's what they're invested in. You can tell the pastors who are signed up with Lucifer, and they probably a lot of them don't know it, that they're wolves in sheep's clothing, because they're just repeating things they were taught. But a fair amount of them that get screen time, they know what they're doing. And you can tell because it's about numbers for them. Come on, we got to go door to door. You know, you've got to save souls. That's not how God is, though. Like, God takes time with each individual soul. He's not that way. They will. I hope so. Even that way, you know, even if the videos stay up and people stumble along them after, but the algorithms are cruel, man. Like, they don't show people stuff. So it says this consists of 3 bright stars from 3 constellations, which is 33. Arcturus, which was around in 2020 as well, and the Boots constellation, which is interesting. Spica in Virgo, and Regulus in Leo, which is interesting because my dad's name was Regis, and I looked it up when I started this journey because there was a lot of strange things about my own story that were weird. But my daddy's name was Regis, and my Grammy called him Regi. And it means kingly or royal, and Regulus. And we have all this talk about royal. It's small, powerful moments. Fame isn't usually in our path. Right. And that's fine with me. I don't per se want fame. Like, I started down the influencer road, and that's when I fell, like, in an epic way. And God picked me up, praise God, and turned me around and showed me how, like, dirty I had become. So fame is not something I'm after, but I do think if you look at like Isaiah, right? Or you look at Jonah, like they had big moments around entire communities. That's how you know somebody is, you know, God gives them that audience that is needed and necessary. And God gives each community or town the prophet they need. And I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm just using that as an example. Like sometimes I wonder about my own walk and if I'm doing the right things. I feel like maybe I should be on a journey, and I should be doing this person by person in an even smaller way, but more effective face-to-face. I feel called to do like a pilgrimage across the country, and I've never done anything like that. I'm very isolated, very secluded, and very sheltered my whole life because of the way I live. I don't even have a dishwasher that works. Most of my life I haven't. So people that have like talking fridges and VCR or not VCRs, laundry machines that like monitor their heart and this, that, and the other, that's way too much for me. Like that is definitely, like I wouldn't mind being a Luddite, you know? Like Luddites to me are, like, they got it together. Just because you're advanced spiritually doesn't mean you can't learn new things. Oh, no. I'm not. That's just it. I'm not advanced spiritually, and I want to learn new things. Like, I need to learn new things. But God hasn't put a teacher or a mentor in my path yet. So I do a lot of reading and a lot of praying. Think of it as school, and you're now a senior. I don't want to be a senior yet. I don't want to lead anybody in that way. You know what I mean? So when I talk about, I'm just saying that people don't listen to me, so it makes me wonder if I'm talking about the right things. I guess maybe that makes more sense. But I'm not, like, I don't want to lead. I don't want to be corrupted, and I know that, like, if I had money or fame, that's very possible. So I don't want that, right? Like, I don't want to be corrupted anymore. I did that, and And who knows how many chances we actually get, but I don't know that I would forgive myself, you know. And I do have still a lot to learn. And I do believe it's school. And when we graduate, we get our incorruptible light body, or whatever you want to call it. I really want to go to the Garden of Eden. I don't know if we all go to the same place. That's where I want to go. I don't know that I want to hang out in the sky yet, because I haven't even seen all of the earth. I believe that humans were made, Christ said heaven is within. It is a mindset. It's an attitude. It is how, you know, it is when you reach, when you ascend in spirit, in mind, in mindset, in heart, right? Heart set. I don't know if that makes sense. So there's a full moon and there's a pink moon in April, on April 2nd. I love pink moons. I love that song. I adore the singer. I feel really bad that he ended himself. I wish that hadn't happened. But I think that his songs are really touching. They're folk songs, so check out the song Pink Moon if you want. You can't fight what you are, Jen. You know when the urge to inform comes from nowhere, that pull is what you should listen to. Yeah. And people say, why do you do videos every day almost? And it's like, well, that's because, you know, and it makes me want to vomit because I don't like attention. I don't like the stage. Like, I always had to really, before I got on a stage, I had to drink a lot, or I had to, you know, as a kid, I would get really nervous and almost vomit and that whole thing. So being, you know, public speaking is maybe not my best gift, but I'm trying, you know. It makes sense to me. Thank you guys so much for being here. So the pink moon, it's called that because it's named by some cultures after the pink flowers called wild ground phlox, Phlox, which bloom in early spring and appear throughout the U.S. and Canada. Oh, they're so pretty. I love them. They look like cherries to me. I just think they're so beautiful. So we're going to skip that, the next headline, and go a little deeper maybe with that. Let's see. What did I find here? Okay, so here we go. This is from space.com. And again, I don't personally believe in space, at least not outer space. We've been told already, like they tell you one thing and then nobody listens, and they believe all these fake videos that NASA does. They flat out told us they couldn't get to the moon anymore. And they flat out said that we can't even get to inner space. So yeah. So this is, take it with a grain of salt, but again, it's a calendar. These are things they want people to know. They want us to like worship. Again, like they want us very downgraded, but we're not going to do that. Again, God wants us to know the cycles and patterns of things and the seasons of things. What we should not do is say that, okay, this is going to happen, so this month, you know what I mean? We shouldn't, our trust goes to God. We shouldn't say this event is going to happen because of this, or, you know, it is a fine line. I think you guys know what I mean. I said it earlier in the video. So this is from December 9th, 2025, but it says 13 must-see moon events in 2026. Eclipses, supermoons, conjunctions, and more. So I wanted to check out real quick what they had to say for March and April. Here we go. Hold please while I get to April, February, March. Okay. Lunar eclipses often come in 3, and the final in the trio comes in early March 2026. The last one until 2029. So watch that, because pagans, you know, the occultists might get crazy that day. During this event, the full worm moon. All right, so yeah, this is going to be big for them, because worm, that's a word that the best friend, the one who was into Sharpies, the one who told me the story about Stormy years before it happened, and I've gone over all this in my testimony videos to warn you guys. So worm is a big word for them. They like to laugh and make fun of us because they say that's all we are, as containers, and that we will turn into our bodies will go to the worms, right? So this might be a big day to watch for. So this is, what day in March? Are you going to tell us? They're not saying anything. During this event, the full worm moon will transit Earth's shadow to become a reddish-orange blood moon for 58 minutes, as seen from parts of Western North America, Australia, New Zealand, East Asia, and the Pacific. What day is it? Can you tell me the day? Okay, so the blood moon total lunar eclipse is March 2nd through the 3rd. It's night into early morning. So that already happened, that warm moon, and we did have the start of the Iran war and all this stuff. Okay, so March 20th, the next big one, is the crescent moon and Venus. It's after the sunset. You should be able to see Venus to the south of the moon. It says the sight of a young moon close to a bright planet will be on offer about 45 minutes after the sunset on March 20th, with a 5% lit waxing, meaning getting bigger, because waning is when it gets smaller. Crescent moon will hang above the bright planet Venus. Find an unobstructed western horizon and take along a pair of binoculars. Okay, so March 20th, we've talked about before. That's a date to watch for because I think it's also a spring equinox we had read. The crescent moon, Venus, and the Pleiades on April 19th. That's going to be a really big one. The occultists are going to love this. I don't know why. April is big for them. They do a lot of things in April, especially between April 18th and April 20th. I don't know why. They just do. And in the next video, maybe we'll do historical events and we'll look at that date. Historically speaking, we'll look at April 20th. Oh, 420. The Antichrist loves that day. Look west an hour after sunset on April 19th for a spectacular panorama close to the sinking stars of Orion as a 9% lit waxing crescent moon gets close to the Pleiades, known as the Seven Sisters star cluster. That's interesting because we were looking at the rock formations down here that were also called sisters. It was the three gossips, and was it the three sisters or the seven sisters? That's interesting, guys. And the next total eclipse, I'm going to tell you, just it's not in March or April, but I'm going to mention it. The total solar eclipse in August 12th, all right? The moon will arguably perform its greatest trick of all, even though it won't be visible on August 12th, when its silhouette will perfectly block the sun for up to 2 minutes and 18 seconds, as seen from eastern Greenland, western Iceland, and northern Spain. Watch that day, watch those countries. We've already seen a lot of mention about Greenland. All of Europe will experience a deep partial solar eclipse, while North America will see a small partial eclipse. That's going to be a biggie for them too. That'll be a date you want to watch. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pull up. So what do we see in the headlines? We see the normalization of new vocabulary attributed to PDF files, which should be disgusting and abhorrent to everyone. And those are the things that we should not stand for. The normalization of the sexualizing of children and of the ruination, the corruption of innocence and beauty. And that is what communism always does. That is what the negative, wicked occult always will do. They corrupt women and children first. It's not to save them, it's to corrupt them, because women bring life into this realm, and a lot of them flat out hate life and they hate us. Understand me, this is not their realm. This is our realm. Use your sovereignty here. It does not belong to them. They have no legal rights to it, and they know it, and that's why they want to bait us into some type of physical altercation. We can pray against it. The best thing to do with some of it is to turn our back on it, and I will give you another brief a brief statement on that at the very end of this video. So I searched pagan calendar for March, okay, and it said Ostara is the spring equinox, which falls on March 20th. So we're going to want to watch March 20th and April 20th for the events that might take place that day. The Sabbath marks the first day of spring, balancing light and dark, and celebrates renewal and fertility. Additional observances may include the Roman festival of Matronalia, matronalia, look at that root word there, on March 1st. Interesting. Okay, so March 20th is the main solar festival. Let's click on Ostara and just to see what it's about. Let's see what they practice on these days. It says, oh, geez, USC Office of Religious and Spiritual Life, and this says pagan holy days. So at least it's official. Sorry, I had a hangnail on my finger and it was really bothering me. don't know how to read this. That's not right. And why are you just in August? It says fall 2025 to spring of 2026. Oh, August 1st. I see what they're... Do I see what they're doing? This is weird. They have it set up very strange. I don't see any... Where's the spring months, guys? All right. March 20th, spring equinox, Ostara, Alban, and Ealer. The celebration around March 20th marks the balance of day and night, symbolizing renewal, fertility, and this is awakening of the earth. Interesting. 8/7 is my youngest birthday. 7 sisters, and it's also in the Subaru logo. No way! I'll have to check that out. That's fascinating. That stuff fascinates me. I don't know why. I just feel like everybody's like, follow the money, follow the money. And I'm like, no, follow the symbols, follow the etymology. That's how you find like the root cause of this stuff. And we're told in scripture, the only way to overcome fully is to pull this crap out by the root. By the root. So May 1st is a big day for them. That's Beltane. We're not going to go over that right now. But March 20th, it says, is their spring equinox. That's going to be a big day, and it's in a couple days. So is April 20th. I don't know why April. It just is. Okay. So that's all they have to give us. And we'll go back over here. Pull out another headline. This video is almost over. Y'all are awesome for hanging out with me. But again, it's stuff that maybe not everybody will look over like I will. And, oh, geez. Okay, so again, another example of 2020, 2019 being repeated. The Ukrainian president, Vladimir Zelensky, thanked Sean Penn, who just won the Best Actor in a Supporting Role for one battle after another for his recent visit to Ukraine. Okay, so in 2019/2020, Sean Penn first went to meet Zelensky, allegedly in alleged Ukraine. That's a long story, but all you're seeing is a set there. Zelensky's an actor. They found him in music videos. These politicians are actors. The children that they steal, the missing children, I don't know if they're actually missing or if they're just given or what happens there, how it's explained to the child. But they turn into politicians in their later years. You can see it. I've done videos on it. Even our VP, J.D. Vance's wife, looks like a little missing girl from back in the day, and I showed you the pictures of that as well. I might do a video just doing that. It's going to have to be on the laptop for you guys to see the pictures, or I'll do each case by case with the picture in the background. Brings things done in the dark to light. Right. Another boring about absolutely nothing. Well, then leave. You don't have to be here. So another example that 2019 is kind of repeating itself is Sean Penn, again, being grouped and paired with Zelensky. And again, they're talking about a role that he has played. Why does Zelensky keep coming into this supporting? Why does he keep, congratulating Sean Penn about being an actor? And then in 2019, 2020, Sean Penn gave him his Golden Globe or his Grammy? One of them. So again, we're seeing these two paired together in the headlines very similarly to 2019, 2020. So there's another example of it repeating itself. So dozens of ships are going now through the Strait of Hormuz as Iran's oil exports get through. So when Trump has asked for help with this situation, nobody came to his aid. I don't understand why all this is public, like why he's doing this via social media and not private calls like the president used to talk about having with other leaders. Like, why are you reaching out for help and letting all the public see and making yourself look weak to other leaders? None of this makes sense to me, and I think that's kind of the point. So this is from AP, hold on. AP on the Iran war. This is about 90 ships cross the Strait of Hormuz as Iran exports millions of barrels of oil despite the war. Where are they going? To Russia? Or March 11th, and that's on March 11th. Oh, this is Hong Kong is the source. Hong Kong AP. 90 ships, including oil tankers, have crossed the Strait of Hormuz since the outset of the war with Iran. Crude prices are $100 a barrel. So again, just be aware of what's going on there. I wouldn't look there too much. What you want to look for again is the signaling, and why are they signaling certain things in the media, and what is going on with that, because there's something going on. But oh, these pop-ups are outrageous. Oh, that's lovely. All right, here we go. And I think there's one more headline I wanted to mention before I end this video. And I have one more thing to go over with you guys as well. I can't even remember what it was. I said I'd go over it at the end, and I completely forgot it. I'm going to have to do a short upload on it and go back and listen to myself. Okay, so this I wanted to touch on. I didn't want to go over it too much because Menace of Horror is going over it, who I think is another big YouTuber in disguise, but I won't get into it. This is from Eyewitness News 7. A retired general vanished from his home, and an unseasonably warm spring is making him harder to find. What I find most interesting, and we've talked about this before regarding Philip K. Dick.
Since the dawn of time,
oh,
man has
no.
been plagued by itch and irritation from not wiping.
Okay, that's enough.
Realizes that wetter.
That's enough. I apologize. I hate pop-up ads. So this general that vanished from his home, he also matches the Illuminati card game with the glasses and everything. The other part of this, though, is they say, and I don't know if this is true or, again, if they're giving us a clue. They say that the wife wrote a story or a song, something like, maybe it was a song, about him disappearing and being gone, but it was in reference to the long hours that he worked. But again, we have another instance of somebody writing something down, and it happening, it coming to life. Are they actual prophets, or does everybody who writes with black ink create a narrative and create thought forms who aren't even people? And that's why the population looks higher. I really genuinely want to know the answer to this. I want to know, because we are told in the book of Enoch, if you believe that source, that the fallen also taught us how to read and write. And some prophets write things that happen. Are they causing the things to happen, or are they given information ahead of time? Because if writing makes things happen, maybe we need to stop writing things down like that. Just a thought. What would happen if we, like Hitler, burned all of the obsolete books, like Stephen King and even my favorite, Dean Koontz, just everything except for information and how-to information and, things that teach you how to do a skill. Everything else we burn. I wonder what would happen. I wonder if that's why Hitler did what he did. We're told he's a really, really bad guy. Everyone who's villainized here and persecuted here, though, ends up... Christ was greatly persecuted. Right? And those pictures tell a different story at Auschwitz. I'm not sure what they tell. I saw a picture, and I did a video on it a while back, about a year ago, of people allegedly... They showed people that were in alleged concentration camps laughing and smoking with the sergeants and generals. Again, they're leaking a lot of things at this time, and I don't think it's them. They're in damage control mode. Everything you see released is basically damage control, because truth is coming out at this time. That's why they call it spelling right. That's what I've been wondering. Are we supposed to read and write? I love to read. Like, we're told to study to show ourselves approved. How do you study if you don't read? You know? So again, I wonder, I believe a lot of the Bible because it's happened, and I've seen a lot of it happen in my own life, but some of it, especially in the Old Testament, I have to wonder about. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, are we really not supposed to write and read at all? If the fallen taught it to us, but they taught us a lot of things, We worked side by side for a time. The Watchers were our teachers, in a way, our mentors, and then things got confused. Sheridan says, I don't know. I don't either. It bothers me a lot, because I'm somebody who really likes to read, and I I don't want God's wrath upon me, right? Like I don't, and we don't know what causes it anymore because we're raised like this. We're raised like all of these things are normal. And most of them are diabolical, even the screens in some way. I do believe technology comes from God and everything is under his control, but there are some things we're not even supposed to mess with. So I really wonder about that. Are we supposed to be Luddites? I still wonder about the rapture. I don't know that that's talking about what people are teaching that it talks about. I think it's very bizarre that certain YouTube teachers want you to, they say that you need to consent to it, basically. They're saying, you've got to believe, or it's not going to happen. You must believe. Why do you need to believe in it? Why, if God's going to do it, God's going to do it. It doesn't matter what you believe, really, right? If God's going to do it, he'll do it. So it doesn't matter, really, what you believe. So why would he need your consent to save you in that physical way if he's already saved your soul? I'm sorry, he has small bronchial tubes and he's getting irritable. He's getting irritable, so he wants out of here. Hey, what's the matter for you? I see you looking at me. That's kind of how he lets, sad to say, like, that's how he gets attention. God took Enoch. Right, God took Enoch. I got interrupted. I apologize. God's original plan unraveled after the original sin. God made us to be in paradise in our first form. This form is corrupted and is going the hard way. Seems I choose the hard way with everything. But I mean, God still saw it was going to happen. So it's still his plan. We still have free will, though, and God kind of works around that to greatly encourage us, I think, to come around. But people don't get, like, God wants us, he wants family. He wants a family. He wants us to love him, but not because we feel like we have to. He wants us to love him out of genuine affection, right? So sometimes God, when we say God's wrath, it's just like any of us. We can love on our children one moment, and if they do something that we know is going to bring them great harm, if they're about to like fall off a cliff or they're about to walk into a fire, we're going to scream, wave our arms, grab them, you know what I mean? Shake them awake. So God's wrath, I look at in kind of the same manner. If we're doing harm to others or ourselves, that's when God's going to step in and be like, all right, you're going to learn a lesson. I'm going to send the lower level entities after you and let them do it for a while, like he did with me. I was demonically tormented and harassed for a long time. I've not been now, but I do things wrong still, and I'm still struggling with a couple of things. And I'm going to mention something here that a lot of people are going to disagree with and might unsub for, but I'm going to say it anyway because I got to speak the truth. Back in the day, and there are certain things I don't know how I know, and please just understand, I wouldn't speak them, though, if they weren't truthful. But I can't tell you exactly how I know them. God tells me a lot in prayer, and some things I'm meant to keep to myself for a time, and other things I tell because I'm supposed to. And there are gray things that are both, things that maybe you're not ready for yet. So women's monthly cycles, way back in the day, they called it a curse. And then they called it a blessing because that's when you can procreate. I'm going to disagree with that teaching from certain religious aspects, spiritual aspects. I'm not a doctor. No part of this is medical advice. I have very good reason to believe that the old school wives' tales about it being a curse are true. And that when that stops, that means you have the bleeding woman in the Bible. That's what it's referring to. And I do believe that it is a form of a curse for something that we are doing on a regular basis here that we don't know is wrong because we were not taught it was wrong. But ladies, I do believe that is a curse. Men, it's different for men when they do the same thing that is wrong. It affects them in a different way because they don't give birth. They don't have the same plumbing that we have. For us, we carry life inside of us. So when we put something in our body that's not supposed to be there, we take it from temple to tomb. It is no longer a temple, it has become a tomb. And when we make it a tomb on our own behalf, on our own behavior, When we make it a tomb, it will act and behave like a tomb and death, and you will see blood. And I do believe now at this point in time, from what I know, from much experience, because I made a mistake again yesterday, and now today I have the curse again. According to science books, I should not be having this anymore. Mommy Dearest has a scene in it that everyone should see. I did that as a child. My son did that as a child. Most children do not want to consume what we're giving them. And when we take our body from a temple to a tomb, ladies, it will bleed. Again, men are different, so it expresses that in a different way, usually with anger or rage or blind intellect. They get dumber. I don't know how else to say it. Their intellect gets blinded. But please take heed to what I'm saying, and if you don't believe me, investigate. Take 30 days and change what you consume. Go on the Daniel diet. Fast like Daniel did for 30 to 60 days. You'll be fine. I mean, this is not medical advice, but eating just what Daniel did, he's still eating, right? He's still consuming. But just eat what he did and drink water only. And tell me, no matter what age you are, if that monthly curse does not stop. Because it stopped for me. It stops for me when I don't take my temple from a temple to a tomb. When I put certain things in there, I bleed. Because I have taken death into my body. Isaiah tells us about this. He tells us that the wars will stop and even death when we put down our weapons for plowshares. Or rather, we will put down our weapons for plowshares when the lion lays with the lamb. Doesn't matter if you say wolf or lamb, it's still a predator. I could care less which one it says. The point is still the same. They're telling you something there. They're telling you we're all supposed to be in harmony each other, and dominion does not mean domination. And we get the monthly curse when we are consuming death, when we are putting things that are dead inside of our body. They tell us this in a lot of movies. Nobody wants to pay attention. And you've seen a lot of big celebrities now have went from plant-based diets to being carnivores. Why? Because that's what they're promoting. They want us blinded because there's a lot of them here at this time. They know that their cloaks are no longer working. Understand that 5G is not just these other things. It's also an electric fence. Stop it. It's also an electric fence. And it's also a cloaking thing. And you'll be able to see individuals for what and who they are very, very soon. But you can speed up that process and you can upgrade spiritually like that based on just what you consume alone. If you don't believe me, listen to me. Experiment with your body. It's your body. Go on a plant-based diet for 30 days. And just water. No dairy. Don't eat any dairy and just go on plant-based diet. Just fruit and plants. You'll see what I'm talking about. You'll be able to see that a lot better. Trust me, I've done it. I've experimented with my own body for the sake of all of us. Whoever decides to listen. All right, I'm going to bounce now. This video has been too long. Have you ever experienced the angel platform in your dreams? I have very lucid dreams. It's like I go to other places and I miss the people that I have in my dreams when I wake up. And when some of these people interfere in my dreams, I know that they are doing that intentionally. So I don't know what you mean by angel platform, but dreams have been a serious topic of interest of mine for a long, long time. Because I don't think they are what they tell us either. And we should be very careful before we lay down to rest, and we should pray over ourselves and say that we do not consent to any evil, dark, lower level entities to interfering with our sleep. These are things you should do before you go to sleep and when you wake up. I do not consent to child abuse for as far and as wide as my territory goes. If every human does that because we have the right, terra firma is ours. They want us to give up our first estate like they gave up theirs. Theirs is up there. Our first estate is the earth. God will give us incorruptible bodies and we will ascend in spirit, but I believe Eden is our home. That's my belief. Maybe that'll change tomorrow based on more information. Yes and no. I have flashes of it. I don't remember it as well as I should, but yes and no. So I'll just leave it at that, I think. I've had dreams that I now call encounters that have happened, that I've been given like visions in my unconscious state in my sleep, but I don't believe they were just dreams. I believe they were actual, like I was taken up and I saw the earth crack wide open and certain things happen. And this happened in the midst of somebody going against my consent and trying to like inject, like it was bad. Like I'm around Satanists, like that's who's around me. I never remember what the angel says and it drives me nuts. I have an issue with memory too, and again, I believe that relates to sleep and certain other states that we can get put into. You should go back to my videos on abductions and check that out because I talk about how to remember what happens in your sleep a little better. But I explain what I think is happening there. So maybe check those out. I'm going to bounce now, though, because this video has been kind of long. I apologize. If you missed yesterday's video, please check it out, or at least check out the short upload about Netanyahu, because I'm not talking about, I could care less who he is, where he is. I pray for our leaders, but I think there are a lot of AI creations from, I go there when I've been praying for guidance. They tried to do so, like they wanted to do something or take me away from this situation back in 2017, 2018, around the first eclipse. That's when I had my first dream/encounter and I saw the earthquake happening. But before that, somebody came into my home, like actual people, and I only remember bits because they injected me with something and I had the mark when I woke up. And again, I've investigated all this on a personal basis. I know it's not psychosis or schizophrenia. I've looked up people in my area. I see that we have a nurse that lives right, diagonal from us. All of these things can be achieved. The same cars are always following me. Like all of this stuff happens. So it's not psychosis or schizophrenia. They know who's going to remember certain things. They know who has certain gifts. Or who has certain missions or purposes, and they harass those people. They will torment these individuals because that's what they do, because they're lower level entities and energies. And this is why targeted individuals have such a hard time, because there is something here that we're meant to do or reveal, and they don't want us doing that or revealing that. If anyone is interested in turning their back on the system with me and joining me to turn your back collectively on the system, and you are ready to walk away from your life, basically, and do a journey on foot for however long we are guided to do that, I would like to go to Arizona and see if it actually is the place where Christ was crucified, because that's what I believe because of Skull Rock and a lot of other indicators. I would also like to see the Grand Canyon for biblical reasons as well. But I do believe that we have to become a Luddite for a period of time. I believe the only way, not participating in it is not enough. Not voting is not enough. We have to detach ourselves from as much of it as possible and literally turn our backs on it, like Nancy did in Nightmare on Elm Street. She turned her back on Freddy and she said, I'm taking back every bit of energy I ever gave you. That's what we have to do. And most people don't want to do it. Most people aren't ready for it. Most people don't understand that we are living in and behaving as Babylonians did. It's the same thing. Most Christians are going to be surprised when they are dealing with the illumination of conscience, or they are dealing with trials and tribulations because they were told they wouldn't have to face those. And that's simply not the case. We need to become Luddites. We need to listen to the Hopi. There are two paths we can choose. The one is harder, but it's the only way to salvation. This stuff is affecting our actual salvation. The mark of the beast does not need to be a physical thing that you choose, although for some it will be. It begins in your heart and spirit first. All things start in the spirit first. This technology with the current system and the next one that they want to replace that one with is not good. Not this way. It's being implemented wrongly. It's going to hurt us in the long run. It will hurt your children. It will hurt your grandchildren. It is not good. We need to turn our backs on it as a whole, as many of us as possible. Because once just a couple of us walk away and document that we've walked away, that butterfly effect will take effect, and we will see an exodus. Not out of America, just out of our homes, out of the system, and turning your back on it. This is our land. Period. It's ours. There is a false flag coming. You need to resist. You need to stand firm in truth. You need to pray. You need to fast. And we should walk away from the game. We should learn how to do our own things. Plant food, eat food, build houses. Learn how to do things that are artistic and creative. Let that be our contribution to society. Work should not entail people leaving their homes and their families for over half of their lifetime. Think about it. You go to work to pay for the vehicle and the insurance on the car that you only have to show off and get to work in. Does that make sense to you? And most people are going to continue to live this way. They're not going to hear this message, and they're not going to change. They're not going to be, their souls are not going to advance. They will not graduate. They will not pass go. They will not collect the $200. They will not be saved, I don't think. But again, I try not to judge salvation because that's not my job. That's God's job. But I'm telling you, there's a certain path we're supposed to be taking at this time, and it's very narrow. And this is not the way. But most people don't want to hear that. I have to do it before I die. I have to turn my back on this system. I have to walk out of this house, and I have to just go. I'm still allowed to upload things to document the journey so people understand what I'm doing. But that's it. That would be it. It would be a journey, a pilgrimage for God that I would be praying on and fasting and saying the rosary. But not just that. Like, again, I have made my own spiritual walk with bits and pieces of a couple religions, because I think the truth has been scattered to all the different cultures and groups, and that's the problem. That's why they want us divided and tell us not to listen to each other, because they know that we each have bits of truth. If I was Satan, that's what I would have done. I would have taken, if I couldn't demolish the truth and erase it completely like he can't, I would have taken it and buried it, and I would have scattered it to the four winds. And I think that's what he did. That's why every religion has a little bit of truth. And most people, again, they don't want to hear that either. They want to, some of the men that are into holy wars want to stick with tradition. There's nothing, I love traditional mass and all that type of stuff. Some traditions are very wise. But things shouldn't be done a certain way just because they've always been done that way if they're clearly wrong or non-productive. We should not be leaving our families for 8 hours a day. Our work should be planting, harvesting, building, creating, having joy, having fun with your family. That's what God wants for us. We have to understand that we will be content and fulfilled. Joyful means filled with joy. We will have that once we're living the way we're supposed to live. And this ain't it. Doesn't matter how much money you have, because you never have enough. Doesn't matter how many toys you have. Doesn't matter how many books I have. Doesn't matter. None of it matters. Only truth and love. And we're here to have dominion over the terra firma and the animals. Dominion, however, does not give us the right to kill. We're not supposed to kill. That's a commandment. And everybody, oh, it means murder. Again, wolves in sheep's clothing are teaching these things because they know we are blinded spiritually when we consume certain things. But even now, people are starting to notice there's something wrong with people. They're not quite like us. And again, I'm not a promoter of violence. I'm a pacifist. Do no harm. But there are people here who are not mankind. Period. And they're doing wicked, depraved, bad things. Period. And they're teaching mankind to do these same wicked and depraved things. These ideas, these concepts did not come from us. And that should encourage you. We have to walk away from this system. And we have to denounce the next one that they're going to give us because it's not up to them how we live. It's not up to us how they live. But living in the system and all of the products that are put out, again, consumerism, we don't need all of this. If everyone has a skill that they enjoy, and trust me, you'll find a skill that you actually really enjoy, and you'll enjoy it so much you'll want to teach it to other people. But this system, as it is not for us. Did you know that all of our electric symbols in our walls are sigils? They're sigils. They're attracting certain things right to the homes. This is real stuff. The occult is real. This is why they do these things. They have our electricity amped up and powered by these sigils. Number one, it's free. We should not have to pay for it. Number two, we're not supposed to live inside of boxes. That's not how we're supposed to live either. But again, nobody understands because this is how we were raised. You've got to turn your back on some of it. You and your faith, you guys, you don't understand how narrow this road is and how hard this is going to be if you stay with technology. Remember all the pagers that blew up? Imagine that on a bigger scale if there is a plasma issue. Imagine that on a bigger scale just because of all the toys we have in America if we have a lightning storm over the whole country, which is possible. Just read any of Tesla's information. What is going to happen if we are inside these homes, which are wired with all this electricity and the sigils? And trust and believe, they don't want to take the internet away from you. They don't want to take food away from you. They just want you to think they're going to take it away from you so you consume even more because they want us fat, lazy, and blind. And consuming the wrong things and consuming too much of things makes us lazy and blind. You're not seeing what's happening. Not you per se, but most of the public isn't seeing what's happening. Because they're spiritually blind, because they're consuming the wrong things. And again, I know this from experience. I love you guys. I'm going to bounce. Have a blessed day. I usually try not to do videos on the weekends unless it's about God or Christ, or it's from like origin or the Holy Gospel, some type of spiritual, faithful text regarding Christ on Saturdays and Sundays. So that's what I'm going to do this weekend. I'm going to stick with that. I wanted to go over a broad scope of current events so you have your eyes open on certain dates and know what to watch for, and just show you things that were being normalized. These are all things we need to turn our backs on and not give them any energy. That means talking about them, period. God said there are certain things that are so wicked we're not even supposed to think or talk about. And Christians are telling other Christians to go read the Epstein files. I'm not saying that stuff isn't wicked. It is. But it's going to corrupt you. Just knowing that stuff is going to corrupt you. If it doesn't affect you directly, if you don't have things like that happening in your family, like I suspect I did, then you should leave it alone. And I'm just being honest. I'm just being real. They want to corrupt our minds. That is the goal. And they're in some type of hurry. So if they know something that we don't know right now, like Satan's time is short, they might not know the day. Perhaps maybe it's time for us to get really serious as the occultists and the pagans, because they're out there fasting, man. They're out there promoting their beliefs. What are we doing? And I'm just asking you, what are we doing? All I want to do is walk away. I want to do a pilgrimage. Imagine, though, if we had a line of people doing that, how much more effective that would be. I'm going to bounce. I'm in Northeast Ohio for anyone that's ready. I'm ready. Anytime you guys are. Stay blessed. Have a great day. You have to love dogs, though, because my friends are coming with me. Bye, guys.